There comes a point in life when you realize you've been carrying weight that was never yours to hold. You've been bending over backward, breaking yourself into pieces just to keep others whole. You've been fighting for people who wouldn't even throw a punch for you. And when the silence of the night hits, when you finally lay down and close your eyes, deep inside, you know the truth. You're exhausted, not from life, but from caring too much about things, about people, about opinions that were never meant to define you. Number 4 is the love. Listen to me. Peace doesn't come from pleasing everybody. Freedom doesn't come from chasing validation. Joy doesn't come from begging for love or waiting for respect that never shows up. The day life becomes lighter is the day you stop caring about the wrong things. The day you stop living for applause. The day you stop measuring your worth by somebody else's broken yardstick. When you stop caring about what drags you down, you rise. When you stop chasing those who walk away, you grow. When you stop seeking permission to be yourself, you finally breathe. And that's when life gets easier. People will always have something to say about you. They will pick at the way you dress, the way you speak, the decisions you make, even the dreams you dare to chase. And if you spend your life caring about every whisper, every comment, every stare, you will drown in noise that was never meant to guide you. You will shrink yourself into someone unrecognizable, trying to fit into boxes built by people who don't even know who they are. You see, judgment is cheap. Anyone can hand it out. But your truth, that's priceless. That's something no one else can measure or define. The moment you let go of trying to be acceptable in the eyes of everybody else is the moment you begin to breathe deeply for the first time, because caring too much about opinions turns into chains, and you can't run free while you're chained to what others think. Think about it. How many times have you stopped yourself from speaking up because you were afraid of being laughed at? How many times did you silence your own heart because you worried someone would not approve? You've clipped your own wings trying not to disturb the comfort of people who never wanted to see you fly. And here's the truth. Their judgment is not a mirror. It's a projection. Most people criticize what they don't understand. They fear what they cannot control. They attack what reminds them of their own insecurities. When you understand that, you start realizing their words have nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with their wounds. Stop carrying their baggage on your back. Life is too short to live according to someone else's limited vision. You were not put here to be a puppet pulled by strings of opinions. You were put here with a calling, a voice, and a path uniquely designed for you. Every time you bend to please the crowd, you step further away from who you truly are. And it's not the judgment that destroys you, it's the surrender to it. The moment you decide to rise above the noise, you claim your freedom back. Yes, people may still talk, they may still mock, they may still misunderstand, but your peace doesn't come from their understanding. It comes from your acceptance of yourself. Stop caring about their voices because their voices don't carry the weight of your destiny. When you stop caring about opinions, something powerful happens. You become dangerous to fear and doubt. You walk differently. You speak differently. You move with a confidence that cannot be shaken because you're no longer asking permission to exist. The truth is, people will always talk. If you fail, they'll talk. If you succeed, they'll talk even louder. So why waste your soul chasing silence from the crowd when the noise will never end? Instead, you can learn to walk through it with your head high, knowing that the noise is proof you're doing something that matters. People don't talk about those who do nothing. They talk about those who stand tall. And let's be honest, when you look back at your life years from now, will their opinions matter? Will the words of those who doubted you, who laughed at you, who misunderstood you, will they hold any power over the choices you made? No, what will matter is whether you lived boldly, whether you stood true to yourself, whether you followed that fire inside you instead of the whispers around you. Regret comes from caring too much about the wrong voices. Peace comes from knowing you lived according to your truth. Their judgment cannot pay your bills, cannot heal your heart, cannot fulfill your purpose. So why give it power over your days? When you stop caring about people's opinions, you reclaim your energy. You stop wasting nights worrying about who likes you, who supports you, who claps for you. You stop begging for validation in rooms where your light was never meant to shine. You stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. Instead, you focus on building, growing, creating, becoming. You focus on the mission that fuels you, not the gossip that distracts you. And soon you discover that the less you care, the freer you are. Freedom is not about controlling everything. Freedom is about not letting the uncontrollable control you. But understand this, stopping caring doesn't mean you become heartless. It means you choose carefully who you let into your heart. It means you don't hand the keys to your peace over to strangers, critics, or even family who cannot see your vision. It means you stand firm, unshaken by the storms of opinion. You love, you care, but you do not crumble when someone rejects you. You understand that rejection often means redirection. And the people who can't see your worth were never meant to carry your crown. That's not coldness, that's wisdom. That's knowing the difference between protecting your soul and abandoning it. The truth is, some of the greatest leaders, creators, and dreamers were laughed at first. They were doubted. They were criticized. They were told they were crazy. But imagine if they had cared too much. Imagine if they had let the fear of judgment stop them from moving forward. The world would have lost their gifts. And the same is true for you. If you let opinions keep you locked, the world misses the light you were born to bring. Don't rob yourself. And don't rob the world just because someone else couldn't see your vision. Remember, they don't have to see it. They weren't given the blueprint. You were. So today, make the choice to rise. Make the choice to stop caring about voices that don't matter. Make the choice to silence the doubt inside you that feeds off their criticism. Care about your growth. Care about your peace. Care about your purpose. Care about your calling. But let go of the unnecessary weight of judgment, because life gets lighter, freer, and more powerful when you stop caring about the wrong things. That's when you finally understand other people's judgment is not your truth, and it never will be. All your life, you've probably been taught to blend in. From the time you were young, you were told not to be too loud, not to be too different, not to be too much. Society whispers it, schools teach it, and sometimes even family enforces it. Fit in. Don't ruffle feathers. Stay in line. But what they don't tell you is that fitting in requires you to shrink, to bury the very things that make you unique, to hide your gifts just so you can be accepted by people who are hiding theirs too. When you live for fitting in, you silence the part of you that was created to shine. You were never made to look like everyone else, talk like everyone else, or walk the same path as everyone else. You were made to stand out. And the pain you feel when you try to blend in is your soul's way of telling you that conformity is killing your spirit. Think about it. Every time you tried to act like everybody else, didn't you feel smaller? Didn't you feel like you were wearing a mask that didn't fit? The laughter didn't feel real. The words didn't sound like yours. And the steps you were taking didn't feel like your own. That's because your spirit knows. It was born for copies. It was born for authenticity. The world doesn't need another duplicate. It needs the real you. And the irony is, the very thing you've been trying to hide to fit in is often the very thing that will open doors, bless lives, and set you free. Stop caring about sitting at tables where you have to beg for a chair. Stop caring about being accepted into circles that require you to abandon yourself. If you have to change your essence to belong, then it's not belonging, it's imprisonment. Standing out will cost you. It will cost you the comfort of blending into the background. It will cost you the illusion of approval from the crowd. But it will reward you with something greater. Peace. Peace that comes from knowing you didn't dilute yourself for anyone. Peace that comes from walking boldly in your calling, even if others don't understand it. Understand this, the greatest figures who changed history were misfits first. And they didn't blend in. They didn't conform. And they didn't apologize for being different. They were misunderstood, mocked, doubted, and even rejected. But they stood out anyway. And because they stood out, the world was forced to notice them. You cannot make an impact hiding in the shadows of sameness. When you stop caring about fitting in, you gain courage. You find yourself stepping into rooms with your head high, not asking for permission to be there. You discover the power of being unapologetically you. Some people will walk away. Some will call you arrogant. Some will say you've changed. But what really happened is you finally stopped pretending. You finally decided that your worth isn't based on blending into their comfort zones. You're no longer afraid to lose people because you realize you were losing yourself by trying to keep them. And once you know the taste of freedom, once you know the peace of authenticity, you'll never want to go back to fitting in again. You have to realize blending in is safe, but safe never changes lives. Safe never breaks cycles. Safe never leaves a legacy. Standing out might scare people, but it also inspires them. It gives others permission to be brave, to be themselves, to stop dimming their light just to make others comfortable. You don't light the world by hiding your flame. You light the world by letting it burn bright no matter who's blinded by it. Stop asking yourself, what if they don't accept me? And start asking, what if by being myself, I free someone else to be themselves too? That's the ripple effect of authenticity. Every time you choose to stand out, you step into alignment with your true design. You weren't born randomly. You weren't made as an accident. You were crafted with intentional detail, with talents, passions, and a voice that nobody else carries. To try to fit in is to spit in the face of that design, is to say, I'd rather be a shadow than a masterpiece. And you, my friend, are no shadow. You are a masterpiece that the world needs to see. Don't hide your greatness because it makes others insecure. If your light bothers them, that's their problem, not yours. Your responsibility is to shine, not to dim. Of course, standing out comes with isolation. Sometimes you'll walk paths where few are willing to go. You'll face seasons where you feel alone because you refuse to compromise. But remember this, being alone is better than being surrounded by people who only like the version of you that isn't real. Temporary loneliness is a small price for eternal authenticity, because the right people will find you. The ones who celebrate your uniqueness, who don't ask you to shrink, who see your difference as your strength. Those people will align with you when you stop pretending to fit in with the wrong ones. Stop caring about fitting in because it was never your assignment. Your assignment is to stand tall, to stand bold, to stand unique. You're not here to follow the footsteps of everyone else. You're here to leave your own. Don't die a copy when you were born an original. Let the world adjust to your presence instead of you adjusting to their expectations. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Let them criticize. Because at the end of the day, what matters is not their comfort, it's your truth. And life gets easier when you stop breaking yourself just to blend into places you were never designed to belong. The moment you release the need to fit in, you open the door to true belonging, the kind that doesn't require you to trade authenticity for acceptance. And here's the truth. Fitting in is temporary, but standing out is eternal. The crowd forgets you when you look like everybody else, but they remember the ones who stood boldly, who walked differently, who dared to be real. So stop caring about blending into the background of someone else's story. Start writing your own story with your own voice, your own courage, your own light. That's where freedom lives. That's where power lives. And that's where you were always meant to be. From the moment you opened your eyes in this world, you've been conditioned to believe that approval equals love, that acceptance equals value, that applause equals worth. As children, we crave it from our parents. In school, we long for it from teachers and classmates. As adults, we chase it from friends, bosses, strangers on the internet. And before we know it, our entire lives revolve around a constant question. Do they like me? But here's the truth. Chasing approval is like drinking salt water. No matter how much you consume, you'll always end up thirstier than before, because approval is fleeting. People's standards change with the wind. Their opinions shift with their moods. And their validation has nothing to do with who you really are. Stop caring about chasing approval because your worth was never designed to be negotiable. Think of how much time and energy you've wasted trying to win people over who didn't even value themselves. You twisted your words. You softened your truth. You bent your back until it almost broke, all just to get a nod of acceptance. And when you finally got it, how long did it last? Minutes, hours, maybe a day. Then you were back at it again, trying to earn what should never have been earned in the first place. Approval is a game that can't be won because the goalpost keeps moving. Today they want you to be quieter, tomorrow louder. Today more humble, tomorrow more bold. And in the process, you lose sight of the one voice that really matters, your own. Approval doesn't build peace, it builds prisons. And every bar of that cage is made from someone else's expectations. What you must realize is that your value is fixed. It's not up for debate. It's not up for sale. And it certainly doesn't fluctuate with someone's opinion. You don't become more worthy when they clap for you. And you don't become less worthy when they criticize you. The applause doesn't add to your essence and the silence doesn't take it away. Worth is not something you chase, it's something you embody. The more you understand this, the less you feel the need to seek validation from the crowd, because once you anchor yourself in truth, you no longer have to beg others to confirm it. Chasing approval is like asking permission to breathe when life already placed air in your lungs. And let's be honest, approval is addictive, but it's also deceptive. It tricks you into thinking that the more you get, the more secure you'll feel. But in reality, it makes you weaker, because the moment people stop clapping, you collapse. The moment they withdraw support, you crumble. That's why you must stop caring about chasing it. If your identity depends on the approval of others, then your identity was never really yours. And here's the truth. They don't owe you approval, and you don't owe them compliance. Living for applause is like building your house on sand. When the tide comes, everything falls apart. Living for truth is building on rock. It stands no matter the storm. Approval can't heal the emptiness inside you. It can't fill the void of self-doubt. It can't give you lasting peace. Because no matter how much you earn it, there will always be someone who doesn't clap, someone who doesn't agree, someone who doesn't approve. And if your worth is tied to their response, you'll spend your whole life running in circles. That's not freedom. That's slavery. Real freedom comes when you stand tall, even in silence, even in rejection, even in misunderstanding. Real power is when you walk in a room not wondering if people will like you, but knowing you'll be true to yourself whether they do or not. That's when you discover the kind of strength approval can never give you and destroy takes. The danger of chasing approval is that it convinces you to betray yourself. You start saying yes when your soul is screaming no. You start laughing at jokes that cut you. You start agreeing with ideas that don't align with your values. You mold yourself into what they want until you don't even recognize the reflection in the mirror. And when the lights go off and the crowd disappears, you're left empty, wondering who you really are. That's the cost of approval, losing yourself. And if the price of their acceptance is your authenticity, then the price is too high. Because what's the point of being loved for who you're not if it means abandoning who you are? Stop chasing approval and start chasing purpose. Stop bending for applause and start standing for truth. Stop lowering yourself to be accepted and start rising to be respected. The truth is, when you stop chasing people, the right people will start chasing you. When you stop begging for approval, you attract those who already see your value. When you stop living for the crowd, you finally start living for yourself. And the people who can't handle the real you, let them walk. You don't need their stamp of approval to be whole. You don't need their applause to be valuable. You don't need their agreement to be enough. Your worth is not negotiable. It's not determined by your likes, your followers, your salary, or your circle. It's rooted in something deeper. Your existence, your uniqueness, your calling. Nothing and no one can alter that. And when you finally grasp this truth, you stop running after the illusion of approval and start walking boldly in your authenticity. And yes, people may call you arrogant. They may say you've changed. They may label you cold. But that's just their discomfort speaking, because they can no longer control you with the bait of approval. And that's when you know you're finally free. So stop caring about chasing approval. Stop letting your life be dictated by applause that fades as quickly as it comes. Stop shrinking your voice. Stop dimming your light. Stop softening your truth for the sake of being liked. You don't need their validation to exist. You don't need their approval to shine. You don't need their permission to be great. Stand firm, stand bold, and stand real, because the worth inside you was decided long before anyone else had an opinion about you. And no applause, no rejection, no voice on this earth can never change that. Some of the deepest wounds in life don't come from enemies. They come from people we loved, trusted, and thought would never walk away. Maybe it was a friend you shared your secrets with. Maybe it was family you thought would always stand beside you. Maybe it was someone you gave your heart to, and then one day they left. No explanation that satisfied the pain. No closure that healed the wound, just absence. And what do? We replay the moments, we analyze the words, we wonder what we did wrong. And we torture ourselves with what ifs. But let me tell you something powerful. Stop caring about those who left. Their absence is not your punishment, it is your release. When people leave, they create space. Space for growth, for peace, for alignment, and the moment you stop clinging to what walked away is the moment you make room for what was always meant to stay. It's natural to feel broken when someone exits your life, But holding on to them after they've chosen to leave is like clutching broken glass. You're the one who keeps bleeding. You can't force people to stay who have already decided to go. You can't drag someone into your future who is determined to live in your past. And the harder you try to hold on, the more pieces of yourself you lose in the process. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. Letting go doesn't mean you never loved. Letting go simply means you love yourself enough not to beg for someone who no longer sees your worth. It means you understand that not everyone is meant to walk with you into every season. Some people were only lessons, not lifetimes. And here's the truth. Sometimes people leaving is the blessing you didn't know you needed. Because while you were praying for peace, for growth, for clarity, life was removing those who couldn't go where you're headed. You may not see it at first. The pain blinds you. The loneliness consumes you. But in time, you'll look back and realize their leaving wasn't the end. It was the beginning. It was the turning point that forced you to rise higher, to heal deeper, to stand stronger. The garden of your life cannot flourish if it's filled with weeds draining the soil. Sometimes the loss is the pruning, and pruning always feels painful before it produces fruit. Stop caring about those who left because their departure reveals their role. If they could walk away, they were never meant to carry the weight of your destiny. If they could leave, it means their part in your story was finished. And you must respect the ending, even when it comes with heartbreak. Because the truth is, your story is still being written. And you cannot move forward if you're still clinging to characters who've already exited the stage. Stop rereading chapters that no longer serve you. Close the door gently and trust that life knows what it's doing. Not every loss is destruction. Some losses are direction. The danger of caring too much about those who left is that you end up abandoning yourself trying to keep them. You lower your standards. You silence your needs. You ignore your boundaries, all to convince them to return. And in doing so, you lose sight of who you are. But when you stop caring about who left, you reclaim your power. You stop asking, why did they stay? And you start asking, what is life trying to teach me? You shift from desperation to growth, from sorrow to strength. And that shift transforms you into someone who no longer begs to be chosen, but chooses themselves first. It's also important to understand this. People don't always leave because of you. Sometimes they leave because they're broken. Sometimes they leave because they're afraid. Sometimes they leave because they simply don't have the capacity to love you the way you deserve. And that has nothing to do with your value. Their leaving doesn't decrease your worth. It only decreases their role in your journey, so stop taking it personally. Stop tying your identity to their absence. Stop believing that their rejection is proof you are unlovable. The truth is, rejection is often redirection. Their departure is not the end of your story, it's just the end of their chapter in it. And here's the beauty. When you stop caring about those who left, you open yourself to those who are meant to arrive. You make space for genuine connections, for people who see you, value you, and stand with you without conditions. You create room for love that doesn't demand your pain as payment. You clear the clutter so you can build a life that feels whole. And the best part is you stop fearing who will leave next, because you've already learned that life doesn't fall apart when people exit. You've discovered that you are strong enough to survive, to rebuild, to thrive even without the ones you thought you couldn't live without. So let them go. Let them walk away. Let them take their silence, their absence, their rejection. Don't chase them. Don't beg them. Don't shrink yourself trying to prove your worth, because your worth is not tied to who stays and who leaves. Your worth is anchored in who you are, and no one can walk away with that. The ones who are meant for you will never require you to break yourself just to keep them. The ones who are meant for you will never require you to break yourself just to keep them. They will stay, and they will stay. They will grow with you. And the only way you'll find them is by releasing the ones who were never meant to last. Life becomes easier when you stop caring about those who left. Not because the pain vanishes, but because you stop letting it define you. Not because the loss doesn't matter, but because you refuse to let it chain you. You learn to see goodbyes not as endings, but as transitions. You learn to embrace solitude as preparation, not punishment. And you finally understand that those who left simply made room for the blessings that were waiting to enter. So stand tall, wipe your tears, and keep walking, because what is ahead of you is far greater than what walked away. Everyone has a past. Every single one of us has moments we wish we could erase, words we wish we never said, choices we wish we never made. And if you're human, you've carried regret like a shadow following you, whispering reminders of your failures, your missteps, your shortcomings. But here's the truth you need to hold on to. Your past mistakes are not life sentences. They are not chains designed to keep you bound forever. They are lessons carved into your journey to teach you, shape you, and refine you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Stop caring about your past mistakes. Because the more you stare backward, the less you're able to see the road ahead. You cannot move forward while dragging the corpse of yesterday. You cannot embrace growth while cradling guilt. You cannot breathe deeply in the present while suffocating under the weight of what's already done. Think about it. How many sleepless nights have you wasted replaying the same mistake over and over as if punishing yourself somehow rewrites history? It doesn't. Beating yourself up doesn't change the outcome. It only damages your spirit. What happened happened. You can't undo it, but you can use it. Every mistake carries within it a seed of wisdom, a message from life saying, learn this, grow from this, don't repeat this. And if you can take that seed and plant it, it becomes growth. But if you keep holding on to the mistake without learning, it becomes poison. The choice is yours to treat your past as a prison or as a teacher. Stop caring about the shame because shame keeps you stuck. Guilt whispers you're not worthy. But wisdom shouts that you are greater because of what you've endured. The truth is, mistakes are proof that you were trying. Proof that you dared to step out. Proof that you took risks instead of standing still. Perfection never built strong people. Failure did. It is in failure that you discover resilience. It is in mistakes that you find humility. It is in setbacks that you uncover strength you never knew you had. So why keep punishing yourself for being human? Why keep carrying chains that life already meant to break off? The greatest people you admire, the ones who made history, the ones who left legacies, they all made mistakes. The difference is they didn't let mistakes define them. They turned them into stepping stones, not gravestones. They understood that the past is not a verdict, it's a classroom. But too often we let the world label us by our worst moments. We let people freeze us in the snapshots of our past failures as if those moments are the entirety of who we are. And if you're not careful, you start believing those labels. You start believing you're not good enough, not worthy enough, not deserving of redemption. But listen carefully. Your past mistake may explain you. You are not the mistake you made. You are the person who rose from it, who learned from it, who kept moving forward despite it. Stop letting yesterday's identity rob today's potential. You don't owe anyone a lifetime of shame just because you messed up once or even multiple times. Mistakes don't disqualify you, they prepare you. Stop caring about past mistakes because every time you cling to them, you're robbing yourself of the gift of now. You're standing in the present with your mind trapped in the past and life is passing you by. Opportunities are slipping through your hands while you're too busy staring at closed doors. Growth is happening all around you. While you're chained to memories, release it. Forgive yourself. Let the wound heal instead of picking at it every day. The scar doesn't mean you're broken. It means you survived. And survival is something to honor, not something to be ashamed of. You don't owe the past your attention anymore. It had its moment. Let it stay where it belongs, behind you. And let's be real, sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. You can forgive others easily, but when it comes to your own failures, you become your harshest critic, your own executioner. You replay words like stupid, failure, unworthy, until they become your inner soundtrack. But here's the truth, you deserve grace too. You deserve compassion too. You deserve the chance to be more than your mistake. And the moment you choose to extend forgiveness inward, the chains fall, the shame lifts, the weight releases. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it frees your future. And that's what you need. Not a new past, but a new perspective. Your mistakes are not a life sentence because life itself is about redemption. Every sunrise is proof that yesterday is gone and today is fresh. You don't have to stay trapped in old decisions. You can wake up and choose differently. You can rebuild what was broken. Even if it takes time, you can restore what you lost, even if it looks different than before. And even if some things can't be restored, you can still rise from the ashes and create something better. The beauty of mistakes is that they break illusions. They strip away pride. They show you who you are and who you are capable of becoming, but only if you choose to see them as teachers, not as chains. Remember this, the past cannot be changed, but the future is unwritten. You can keep dragging guilt, or you can walk into growth. You can keep punishing yourself, or you can use the lessons to become wiser, stronger, freer. The choice is always yours. Don't waste another day caring about mistakes that no longer define you. Instead, care about the lessons they left you with. Care about how they shaped you. Care about the strength they pulled out of you. Because at the end of the day, you are not your worst decision. You are the person who rose above it. You are the proof that redemption is real, that growth is possible, that mistakes are not life sentences, they are life lessons. So breathe, release, let it go. You don't need to keep replaying the past like a broken record. The track is finished. The song is over. It's time to write a new melody, one filled with wisdom, strength, and hope. Your past mistakes don't get the final say, your growth does. And life becomes so much easier, so much lighter when you stop caring about the chains of yesterday and start living in the freedom of today. Progress is the heartbeat of life. And yet, too many people waste their energy chasing perfection, a goal that can never be reached because it does not exist. Perfection is an illusion, a mirage in the desert that keeps you walking endlessly without ever quenching your thirst. If you spend your life waiting until everything is flawless, you will never move. You will never act. And you will never see the beauty of what you're capable of creating in motion. Progress, on the other hand, is alive. It is real. Every step forward, no matter how small, is evidence that you are stronger today than you were yesterday. The problem with perfection is that it paralyzes you, changes your potential to fear, and it convinces you that not enough is who you are. But